Now, many of us have our issues with Starseekers for one reason or another, though at the same time, a lot of us want Starseeker-like effects and results. Now, if that's you, I've got the build for you. Now, I will say, first and foremost, this is a Unity rushing build. There will be a tech rushing build, but for now, I recommend you tech rush about 20 years in the game, switching your civets to like technocracy or what have you. Now, let's get into the build. For the origin, pretty simple. We're going to Overtuned for a variety of reasons. One main being the modification points and trait picks and how that lets us expand our species properly into this build. Now let's talk about the civics. We're going Byzantine Bureaucracy and Exalted Priesthood, both for that +1 unity for a total of +2. Now let's talk about traits. In total, we're doing Chromologs, Traditionalist, and the Overtuned version of Traditionalist alongside Rapid Breeders. These three alone will give us a natural +40 efficiency of Priest just straight out the gate, not even including the +10 from our Empire's capital. And Rapid Breeders will just help us get our population across the line. Now folks, one of the first things you're going to want to do is turn on Burn. This will ensure you get a bunch more priests, and as you can see, turning it on, we get up to almost 700 priests day one. So, to say the least, this is pretty important. Now, there will be a number of important marks on our economy, but the first things first, what we are going to be focusing on doing is getting up as many temples as possible, and at least 2 science ships. You want at least 2 science ships. Alongside that, you want to basically convert your economy to just do consumer goods, just so you can fuel the temples. We will be switching off this pretty soon on after we finish this, but this is what we are rushing right now. Now, I will take this moment to say, if you find an archaeology site at all, beeline for it. That needs to be your major focus, is an archaeology site for at least one of your science ships. This will be helpful later to get the Unity in faster. Let's talk traditions. In my opinion, you want to go in this order. Prosperity, you want to do the full tree. You want to do Aptitude, but just specialist training and the champions of the Empire. And then you want to do the full tree of adaptability and then finish Aptitude. You can do this in about 5 to 7 years with this build, just depending on how you do. 10 if you don't go full Unity Russian. Overall, this will do you fine. And I will say, this is going to be an odd choice, but for your first Ascension perk, you are going to want to take 1 Vision. This just helps you get it along even further. It's not important. You can do another if you'd like, but I just think this is better for this specific build. I do strongly recommend you switch off ArcShip development into Evolving Society. Honestly, folks, you're not going to be able to do this relatively easily until later on anyway, so this is just better for you at the time. I will say, if you get lucky and you find your precursor pretty early on through all of your science ships, you're going to want to hit Artifact Exhibition in your decisions so you can get that nice +20%. This will help you get more even sooner. As soon as you get the Void Forges up, you're going to want to turn on the Spiritual Enclave. You're going to want to switch out this Industrial Corner for a Spiritualist Enclave. This is very important. Though I will say, you're going to be bleeding consumer goods hard, so you need to get these civilian industries up fast, folks, or you will die. Now, I will say, folks, whenever you find a nice system, you're going to want to harvest the resources. This will help your economy go, because I'll be real with you, folks, your economy is going to be dog shit for a while. Your energy credits are going to be in the negative, and your minerals are going to be in the negative. It will be worth it. We will convert off it later, but this is just to bide your time. Now, folks, as to why we wanted that archaeological site, you need these minor artifacts to go into discovery and to do these 2 so that you can finish this year 6, folks. Now, whatever Ascension you pick is up to you. I am personally going to go the Flesh is Weak, and this will make sense later. But, honestly, folks, as you can see, this pretty much competes with Starseekers. This pretty much competes with optimal Starseekers. And here in about 14 years, we will convert this to a complete Tech Rush build. But starting now, we will slowly start converting our Spiritual Enclaves to research districts. We're going to go for the Archive just because it serves our purposes. But as you can see, folks, frankly, this is pretty crazy. I mean, I can't understate this, honestly. Now, I will say, folks, we have converted our economy from Unity to a slight research buff, mostly focused on engineering. This will allow us to finally select the cybernetic tree, which we will then switch slightly back to Unity. Now, I'll get back to you here in a second once this really starts going up. Now, I will say, folks, I do acknowledge cybernetic Ascension within itself did slow this build down a little bit. Just do whatever is best for your build. If you want to do genetic, you want to do psionic, I do say they are faster to get into than cybernetic. But for our purposes, cybernetic is just the best for now. Now, I will say, one aspect that does make cybernetic interesting for this in itself is the boost to specialist in itself. Now, it does say that it's boost to output. This is a lie. It's actually a boost to efficiency. Just a small disclaimer within itself. Now, folks, we've reached the 20-year mark, and this is about the time that we are going to switch from the Unity production over to research production. And we're still going to do this from Priests. The only thing we can't get from Priests is engineering. So, we're just going to do a minor priest or research economy. And now, for our third and final civic, we are going to bring back Byzantine bureaucracy just for stability. This will just generally help us keep our empire stable in the wake of oligarchic overclocking. Now, folks, this isn't the quickest I've ever finished a full tradition tree. I will say that. And quite frankly, if you combine Starseekers with this build, you probably could have done better than I did. But I will say, folks, a 50-year full tradition tree is not bad at all. Now, anyway, I'm currently in the process of converting my priests. I just finished their full auto mod, and I'll show you that. That's all 3 auto mod traits. So, folks, like I was saying, I just finished modifying the species, so the auto mod's kind of screwed up. But I will say, I'll show you that here in a second, just so you can see the full modifier. Now, folks, I waited a little bit for the auto modding to get to 10%, so they never really did. I think it might be a rounding error. But I will say, folks, a little over 200% job efficiency isn't too shabby for this kind of build, in my opinion. I think that's personally the highest I've ever seen it, to be honest with you, folks. I will say, folks, the charm of this build, more than anything else, is that this isn't getting nerfed with Starseekers. So you don't have to worry about, oh my god, my year 6 species Ascension build's going away. This build isn't going away anytime soon, folks. This build is basically just standard Stellaris, and it has been for a while. Now, I will say, folks, in case y'all are wondering what the deal with Starseekers itself is, make sure to check out Starseekers Absurdity. The link will be in the top right corner of the description in the comments. I will say, it's a fascinating civic and a fascinating watch. Now, I will say, folks, that'll do it for today. Make sure you auto-mod that like button, and make sure you absolutely destroy the efficiency of that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, if indeed you still are.